Remember when people were demanding that there should be epilepsy warnings before screenings of Incredibles 2? I feel like there should be similar warnings for this movie for people who are prone to panic attacks or have anxiety. Just saying, this can make for a stressful watch.
We've got this under control.
You're a bunch of boys. You don't have anything under control.
Hello there everybody, it's me the Canadian Movie Buff with a review of First Man. Ryan Gosling plays Neil Armstrong, and the movie follows him as he goes from NASA test pilot to the first man to walk on the moon. Damien Chazelle has built himself quite the reputation as an indie director with a love for the music aspect. Whiplash garnered him the Oscar attention, but it was La La Land that propelled him to the mainstream. It's arguable that his recognition as the director of La La Land was a selling point for First Man. It's a funny coincidence how a movie with first in the title is a number of first for Damien Chazelle. It's his first non-music related movie, it's his first wide-released movie, and, perhaps the most daunting task of any director, the first movie he's directed where he did not write the script. The movie faced a lot of controversy, but at the end of the day, was it any good, or did it simply fail to launch? From the moment this movie begins, it puts you right in Neil's shoes. The opening shot of this movie is the cockpit of Neil Armstrong going thousands of miles per hour in the stratosphere. When he goes too far high up and starts to bounce off the Earth's atmosphere, he has to use everything he can to get himself back down. Those first 5-10 minutes set the tone for the movie. After that opening segment, you're in for an intense and personal journey. There's a grainy filter effect, giving it a documentary live broadcast style of filmmaking. Keep in mind, you're with Neil Armstrong this entire time. There are very few scenes where he's not in it or it's not told from his perspective. Neil Armstrong is given the power of the narrative here. And unlike most biopics where they try to cover as much of the person's life as possible, it only covers one period, 1961 to 1969. It's all about showing the man behind the icon and how he does have his flaws and his struggles. He's very hesitant to open up about anything outside his job, and he knows that there's a possibility that he won't come back, but he's trying to dismiss it and downplay it as much as possible. To him, failure is not an option. Speaking of the man himself, Ryan Gosling is outstanding in the part. He's not trying to play some larger-than-life icon who wanted to be famous. He's playing a guy who's facing down the barrel of a very large gun and hoping he can duck out of the way before the trigger is blown. While everybody sees every failure as a liability, to him, it means it's a step in the right direction. To paraphrase the quote in the movie, they need to fail down there so they don't fail up there. After the breathtaking scenery of La La Land and the up-close and personal camera work of Whiplash, I never thought I'd say this about a Damien Chazelle film. The cinematography didn't always work. Granted, the shakiness is meant to replicate reality. A spinning spaceship would cause nausea and dizziness. But there were times where it got hard on the eyes and made it incredibly difficult to watch. I'm surprised we haven't heard news stories of people throwing up after IMAX screenings of this movie, because seeing some of those moments on an extra large screen would have definitely caused some stomachs to turn. The editing was a little bit off. One moment he's going through a grueling test, and then 1 or 2 scenes later he's flying the next experimental aircraft. It's like the movie was hitting on the gas and then slamming on the brakes to cover as much as possible within its time frame. The movie is already at a lengthy 2 hours and 20 minutes, and that is a long 2 hours and 20 minutes. By the time we actually do get to the moon, you're just waiting for them to wrap it up and roll the credits. First Man is a solid look at Neil Armstrong, the family man and test pilot, even if its greatness falls short of its ambition. The minimalistic use of music is effective, the aesthetic adds to the movie's atmosphere, and Gosling's performance is deserving of at least an Oscar nomination. But some of the camera work and writing, the editing, and the third act's slow pacing keeps it from being Best Picture material. It spawned one of the most stupidest controversies in recent history, and honestly, it was over nothing. They do show the flag planted in the moon, they just don't have the planting of it in the movie. It's a space race between the USA and the USSR, and the socio-political climate, it mainly takes a back seat. Because what this movie wants you to care about is Neil Armstrong, the Earthling who faced an extraterrestrial task. First man shot for the moon, and it still lands among the stars and a watch in theaters. Alright, that's my review of First Man. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Leave your answer by commenting down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe and hit the bell icon if you're new here, and as always, this is the Canadian Movie Buff saying I hope you had a fantastic weekend at the movies. See ya!